What's up, my favorite people? We are finally back after a few weeks of nothing, complete silence, horrible weather, not working. We are back. Before we get started with the video, I do want to announce that the person who won the free piercing from January was Emily Ellis. So if you see this, shoot me a message and we'll get your free piercing scheduled. Thank you guys so much, everyone who participated. It really got my numbers up there and I really do appreciate everyone. So in February, we got crazy weather. It was my birthday. I took a lot of time off work just because I don't like driving in that crazy weather and I do enjoy sitting at home. So we aren't doing a free piercing giveaway for February, but with March just starting next week, we will definitely start that. So for this video, I was going to do a walk around the shop, like spend a day with me, kind of see what I do. But it's still cold out, so a lot of people still aren't coming into the shop. We have a lot of downtime. So I've decided that I'm just going to wait for summer to do that, and then you guys can get the full summer experience. So today we're actually going to talk about the famous argument in the piercing world, piercing guns versus piercing needles. I feel like a bunch of people talk about this. I've been wanting to do this video, but it's probably not going to be super popular with people who still agree with guns, but we'll do it anyways. So let's get started. So I can't lie to you guys, I actually started out my piercing career with a piercing gun. I was young, I just needed a job. I've always liked piercing, so I thought that that might be perfect. But then a lot of problems started arising, and all the problems came from the piercing instrument. You're not supposed to call it a gun. But it made my job so much harder. Whenever I switched to needles and I actually started working in like a shop, not just in the mall, my life got significantly easier. So before we start all the boring talk, why it's actually worse to use the gun than the needle, I would tell you a quick story about the gun. So, it's legal for you to get your child's ears pierced at like 3 months with, parents' permission. So I had this woman and her son one time. She wanted her 3-month-old baby's ears pierced. Do it, whatever. That always made me super nervous because you really can't control what those things do. So it gets jammed, right? The earring is stuck in there. The cartridge is stuck to a 3-month-old ear. I was freaking out. So I finally get the earring off, right? His mother freaks out on me, throws the baby over the kiosk, and chases me around. She is so mad at me. That day I decided guns were not worth it. So not too long after that took place, I actually quit. The stress of working there because of piercing people was just too much for me. It was just honestly too much. So I went into the place that I ended up getting an apprenticeship from just to look around, and I asked one of the salespeople if they liked working there. She was like, yeah, it's awesome. We're actually hiring piercers right now if you have experience. It was the weirdest thing. I had just moved to that neighborhood. I was really just looking around, and I walked out with an apprenticeship that I would comfortably pierce with actual needles, not guns. Because something you may not know, you can pierce more than just your earlobes with a gun. I've seen belly buttons, I've seen noses, earlobes, cartilages, everything, and every single time it is the most horrifying video I ever watch. Another thing that is so crazy to me between learning how to use a piercing instrument and learning how to actually pierce. So I know you're only learning one thing, and it's just a little handheld thing. You literally but I feel like you should probably get more training than you do. For instance, I pierced a cardboard ear a few times. I'd say probably 7 to 10 times. And then I had a very brave coworker volunteer for me to pierce her. So she bought the ring and all that, and we did it. But that's really it. My first piercing, official piercing, was my boyfriend. I mean, it took me 2.5, 3, 4 months to learn how to actually pierce. And I know I learned a plethora of things, but I went in a lot more comfortable. There's also such a difference in getting a piercing in the mall in a high populated area than in a shop. It's so crazy to me. I go to the craziest extent to make sure my room is spotless. It's sterile, it's clean, all that good stuff. The only time I don't have a mask on because of the pandemic is whenever I'm doing these videos and I'm in my room with the door shut. You're in the middle of the mall, just like casually getting pierced. I don't know. Whenever I was doing it, I was like, there is nothing wrong with this. Like, I don't know why people trip. But now that I'm out of it and I look back, I'm just like, ugh, I did that. I honestly can't even tell if this is like an educational video or if this is just a video of me confessing my piercing sins and asking that I be forgiven for committing this because, oh, it was just such a bad time. Like, seriously, it was just so fast. Like, you had to convince people to get piercings. Like, yes, let me put a foreign object in your body. Like, let me just stab you in the ear with this earring. That is so crazy to me. My favorite part about my job working in a tattoo shop is that people seek, like, you out. You know, they come to you. They want something. You're not in the middle of the mall being like, please, like, I need to get this many piercings before the month is up. Okie dokie. So, I'm just going to show you one of my piercing needles. This is what I pierce ears with, just regular lobes. Sometimes I'll do this with cartilages if they just want a normal sized earring. But what I really wanted to show you with this is whenever you get pierced with a needle. So you see how sharp this bad boy is. I mean, wow, it's sharp. But it also has that teeny tiny little hole in the middle. And it actually takes out a piece of skin, like it removes it. Whenever you get pierced with a gun, it just pushes the skin through and out the back. So whenever I actually pierce somebody with a needle and I quirk it, their skin is in the needle. So it's like the earring's replacing that skin. It's not just pushing it back and creating that scar tissue, if that makes any sense at all. And another thing that really freaks me out about piercing with like a gun is that it doesn't bleed. Like, I understand like piercings aren't supposed to bleed that much, and like sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. There's all kinds of different circumstances, but not one single time whenever I pierced with guns did a single one bleed. And that's just so crazy to me. Like, I'm guessing it's because of like the skin thing I just explained, but I'm really not even sure about it. So I just think that's the craziest thing. Like, it just doesn't bleed. Like, just piercing is just significantly easier with a needle. You literally take like a needle quirk, pretend there's a dot there. It's a lot more serious whenever it's a real person. But you literally line up the dot, the cork, you pierce it. So you have it big chilling like this, you see? And then you just take your earring, pop the back off of it, slide this bad boy in there, and literally push, boom, pierced. Like, that's so much easier to me than like taking, it's just so much easier. My life just got so much easier. And then all you have to do is pop the back on that bad boy and boom. But other than everything else I've mentioned in this video, I feel like the worst thing that everybody hates the most about the guns is that dreaded crunch whenever you get your cartilage pierced with one. I feel like everybody knows what I'm talking about. You get that horrible, like, warm feeling whenever you get a piercing, but add that, like, on top of it, and it just makes your life awful. Whenever you pierce with a needle, you may hear a little bit of a crunch, but it's not completely like collapsing in your cartilage. It's just sliding through it. So it doesn't make it like as aggressive of a crunching noise. It's more just like, I'm passing through and it's over, you know. So if you don't like the crunch, definitely try getting your ear pierced with a needle. Your life is so much easier. And the last thing I'm really going to touch on is the cleanliness of these instruments. I know I reuse a lot of my instruments, but they're metal. They're ran through an autoclave. They're ran through one of those vibration thingies that shakes all the gross stuff off. The only thing that happens to those piercing guns is you run some cavicide over it, and that's it. Nothing. You use the exact same instrument on everybody. Everybody. And there's no, like, crazy process to getting it clean. Like, I know the actual instrument doesn't touch your ear if they're careful, but it could touch your neck. I mean, anything. It's just gross to me. Like, if you can't scrub something and it's not cooked, literally cooked to get clean, I don't trust it. But this is our sterilization room. So my instruments are ran through this, then ran through that, sent in for tests, and they come out in this package like this. Fully clean. It has the date that we cleaned it on. Yet the gun is cleaned with Cavi wipes. Literally, just Cavicide wipes. That's it. That's it. Like, they wipe down the chair and they wipe down the little instrument, and that's it. Nothing else goes into cleaning it. So yes, that's gross to me. Especially, like, I never knew the difference because I had never seen what happens after you leave the tattoo shop, what they do with the instruments they use, all that kind of stuff. My needles get thrown away. Their cartridges get thrown away that the earring came in, but the gun gets reused. Nothing gets reused unless it is passed through 265 degrees of heat. So, I don't know, whenever you put it on the scale, I just feel like needle is way up here and gun is like way down there. You can't even see it on the screen. Long story short, honestly, just go to your local piercer and let them pierce you with a needle. I feel like any good piercer will tell you, do not get pierced with a gun. I mean, it's just, if there's a safer way to do things, I don't know why we just don't do it. Why we keep allowing this, like, it's not dangerous, but it's also not safe. I don't know why we keep letting, like, people pierce with it, but we do. So, once again, just educate yourself. If you know what's best for you, you're probably going to pick the needle. Not a lot of people can just order needles. Anybody can just order a gun off Amazon. People do it all the time. It's just not smart. Just go the extra mile, get the piercing done professionally and with a needle. Like and follow me in this video, my Instagram, @piercingsbylil. If you enjoyed this video, if you want to see more. But yeah, so that was the discussion between piercing needles versus guns, and you guys got to see a piercing on a fake ear. You got to take a walk around the shop. What a great video. So tell me what you all think about this video. Tell me which side you side with, gun versus needle. Thank you so much for watching my video today. I do apologize for the few weeks that we took off, but we are back in motion. Summertime's got me feeling good, super excited. Well, summertime on the way. I see a little bit of sun and just fly off the handles. But thank you guys so much for watching my video. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys next week.